Hello, Red Wave. Welcome to Bulldogs podcast. My name is Caleb Nail. Joining me is Caleb Pletz. Mr. Pletz and I just got back from Southern California. We didn't make it up to Northern California for the game. And to be honest, I'm glad we didn't go, Caleb. That was a rough one. We are going to recap it. We're going to get to your reactions, our reactions, and we'll talk about it. So thank you guys for tuning in. You can find us on YouTube live every Sunday night starting at 7 p.m. A little late today. Sorry about that. But we're here. Leave your comments in the chat and your thoughts on the game down below in the comments section. We're also on X, Beware_Bulldogs, and on Instagram, Beware Bulldogs podcast. Mr. Pletz, how was the weekend? Other than the game, you have a good time?
Yeah, other than the game, I had a great weekend. Just spent some time with one of my buddies for his bachelor party down in San Diego. So we had a blast doing other stuff besides watching football. So overall, it was a good time. Beautiful weather. I actually got jet skiing out in the San Diego Bay, which was a blast. So we had a really good time. Glad to be home though. I mean, Fresno's home. I just, could never live in, Southern California, but it was beautiful weather while we were there. So that was nice.
Oh, good. Yeah, it was. We were down in Palm Springs for a wedding. My sister-in-law got married, and everybody's married and ready to go. So we had a good time as well. Caleb, this might be a tough episode.
Yeah.
It should be okay.
We are out of practice for sad Sundays. I mean, we've only had one this year, and dating back to last season, with the 9-game winning streak, we haven't had to do many of these recaps after losses in recent memory. So yeah, this is tough, but that's why we're here every week. I mean, we're not only here for the wins. So we have plenty to get to, and we got a ton of feedback after this game, which is good.
Yeah, I see you guys in the chat. Reminder, let us know where you're watching from, what you're enjoying tonight. We might be drinking a lot tonight. I see Jesse's here, Robert's here, Bulldogs Bob's here, Chris is here, Andrew's here. Thanks, guys, for being here. Yes, I can't. Caleb could see the chat tonight, so he's running that. All right, let's just start with let's start with you guys, and then we'll get to all of what we think and the numbers later. Caleb, over on X, there was a lot said. Sidelines Fresno State says San Jose State wanted it more. And took it from the Dogs. Defense never had answers today, and the O-line has to be better. Just ugly from the Dogs. Never showed up onto the next one. I agree. The energy was not there from the Dogs. I just watched the game of the recording, and luckily I could fast forward. There was no energy. Their smack talking was going. It was going both ways, but San Jose State was bouncing around. They just looked like they wanted to be there. So I don't know, Caleb. We'll talk about the O-line too more, but the energy from the gate, right out of the gate, there wasn't much from Fresno.
Absolutely, yeah. I think one of the comments, I think Chris Lakes I just had it on the screen. Emotional letdown game for the Bulldogs and San Jose State. I mean, they fought their hearts out. They really had the emotional drive. And I mean, that showed on the field. It was not close. And, similar struggles this game as the Wyoming game earlier in the season, where the defense just unable to get a stop in the first quarter. And when this team gets behind big, the offense is very capable of scoring points. But when there's a little bit more pressing and they, forcing throws, a lot of, ill-advised throws in this game by the Fresno State quarterbacks. It's just not a formula where Fresno State offense is going to be successful. So credit to San Jose State. I think them coming off a bye definitely helped. I know that one of their defenders in the post game press conference was saying we've had 2 weeks to prepare for this team. We saw these plays 100 times. We knew what was coming. So that is troubling because either the quarterback is really telegraphing things or the play calling's predictable. I think it's probably a combination of both of those, and just overall not a good performance. And Fresno State got their butts kicked. I mean, there's no sugarcoating it.
Yeah, Cole says there's a lot of these guys. There's a lot of negative, but we'll get through it. And I think they're actually good to bring up. And this is by the fans for the fans, so we want you guys to have a voice as well. Cole says O-line was terrible. Spomer, by the way, injured, likely out for season. O-line was terrible. Keene is a follower, not a leader. Fife carries himself better than Keene, body language, but Fife played bad as well. McCann, I thought, called another bad game. Defense stunk. D-line got sucked into blocks and could not shed off the blocks. Linebackers overcommitted. I did see a lot of that. DBs looked slow and unaware, but San Jose sure looked good. Yeah, and I think we made them look good.
Mm-hmm.
Single-use plastic. We're going to have to find a more consistent pass rush that doesn't involve blitzing and consistency of offensive line play. Just shame we didn't fully capitalize on the easier schedule we had this year. 100% agree. There is zero pressure on the quarterback when we blitz 3-4 guys. I thought this entire game, they ran the ball extremely well. I think I saw they're 4th in the country when it comes to the amount of times they run the ball in the game. I think it's almost like 60% of the time they run the ball. I'd love to see a bear front, 5 down D linemen. Let's stuff them there. But Cordero did a good job. They did a good job calling play action and finding open guys in the passing game. They did great, but I agree with everybody so far. It's on us. We made them look good. Overcommitting from linebackers. We looked slow and unaware, like Cole said, on DBs. And there was no pass rush. Go Dog says, sorry, Caleb, you have a response?
Oh, go ahead. Keep rolling.
Go Dogs. Loss hurts for sure, but the Mountain West Championship is still within reach. Hopefully Keene is okay. He was out this game because they said an ankle injury. Fresno State report on an ankle injury. To me, it looked like a concussion. He wasn't hit in the head, but he hit the ground, bounced pretty hard, and then he was in a hat and sunglasses, and it was nighttime. That is definitely concussion. We'll see if he's back for the next game. Mountain West Championship. This is what I want to talk about. The scenarios for us to get back in the Mountain West Championship, Caleb. We have to win out.
Yes.
And then what else needs to happen? Do you know?
Well, we need some help. I know that it's going to come down to UNLV. That a lot's going to hinge on UNLV because we need UNLV to lose, but then there's also San Jose has the tiebreaker over Fresno State. So, my understanding is, right now at 4-2, it's Fresno State, Boise State, San Jose State. So, Fresno State has the tiebreaker over Boise State because of the victory, but San Jose has the tiebreaker over Fresno State, right? That's right.
Yeah.
Is that your understanding? All right.
Mm-hmm.
So then, obviously, we're going to need some help after that. I don't think we can count on Boise, beating someone or helping us just because they fired Coach Avalos, which is hilarious. So shout out to the Boise State Broncos for doing that. Because upcoming Boise State has Utah State and Air Force. It's possible that they could take down Air Force. I think that would help a little bit just to get some more losses up there. But I know that UNLV coming up, I believe they play both. Hang on, let me get the schedule up here. The upcoming UNLV plays Air Force and San Jose State. So I think we need UNLV to beat San Jose State. I think that would help us. And we need them to lose to Air Force. I think if both of those happen, then the Dogs are in. But yeah, there's a lot happening here. But if the Dogs are just going to lose again, there's no sense in going through all of that. I don't think that's likely, just considering New Mexico and San Diego State are two of the bottom tier teams. So the path is still there for Fresno State to do what they can to put themselves in a good position, but they are going to need some help from UNLV.
Yeah, we're going to need lots of help, and it's disappointing because this is we go into every game with target on our back, but we expect to win. We have high expectations, and I think rightfully so. We should have high expectations. We want to play for championships. We are told that's the goal every year. We want to win Mountain West Championship. That's the main goal, and we're not in that scenario right now. We're not there, and when it's not in our control, I think the fans can be frustrated, and I know the team is too. Matt says this is the worst game I've seen from them in a while. I agree. I don't remember the last. I mean, as a team, just everyone looked out of it.
Yeah, in terms of getting dominated on defense and just very poor execution on offense. Yeah, really could not. And even on special teams too, on the kickoffs, our guys didn't know what to do with the little like pooch kicks, and we were just getting confused all over the place. So yeah, I think on all three phases, it was clear San Jose State, better performance.
Yeah, catch the ball, run it back. If the ball, this is what okay, in high school, this is completely different. This is high school football. But you catch the ball, right, and you're an O-lineman, right, you just kind of go down. But in college, you catch the ball, you're tied in, run it. I don't care. You go, attack. And this is part of that energy mentality into the game. I know coaches may say a couple things, but yeah, they look confused, didn't know what to do. You catch the ball, go. Let's go score. Do something. Positive yards. Clarence says being ranked is a curse. We were ranked number 25 in the coaches poll going into this game, and we lose again after being ranked. Ruben Rodriguez says pretender to being a great G5 football team got exposed last night. We kind of talked about it. I mean, I called us out earlier in the year. Somebody asked about pretenders. I said we might be one, and I don't want to be a pretender, but yeah, we did get exposed last night. Truth Seeker. We knew from the start of the season, San Jose State game was circled by San Jose State as a rivalry game. This series has been going for years. San Jose State just made more plays. Fresno State will bounce back. I think having New Mexico next is going to be huge for this team.
Yeah.
I saw a tweet, and you guys, I don't know who put it up, but San Jose State, they crushed us in all areas. I sent it to you, actually. I think the football team. So the football team lost. Basketball team was beat 2 out of 3 times, or 1 out of 2 times last year. Baseball team lost the majority. Fresno State lost majority of the games to San Jose State. Volleyball lost. San Jose State had our number this year and the end of last year. And I don't like to see that. That's not fun. Drip drop. And I had an ugly feeling when the doggies settled for 3 right in the beginning. Yeah, we'll talk about that. All the bad feelings about San Jose State. Vegas even had the dogs as underdogs. We have to score. Story of the season. We have to score in the red zone. We can't be doing what we do in the red zone, which is throwing the ball when we're okay. Hold on. Mo, San Jose State was the better team. Injuries are exposing the lack of depth. 2 very winnable games, though, left would make us a 10-win team. I thought this was an 8-win team at the start of the season. Definitely need to take a step up to be an elite G5 program. Matt, we overlooked them after putting it all out there against Boise. Larry says it was late on the East Coast, and I went to bed after the pick 6. Not going to lie, so did I. We were at the wedding after party. I had the game on, saw the pick 6, said, all right, and walked out. And then I had a great time at the after party. I didn't let it ruin my night. It was just moved on. Rodrigo says, I didn't like the effort, especially in the lopsided first quarter. We underestimated them, and the Spartans played well on both sides. We started to move the ball, but costly turnovers didn't allow us to get back in the game. And also, weren't we supposed to be good at stopping the run? Yeah, that's calling me out because I said we should have no problem stopping the run. And I think it's okay to say that we thought we would be able to do it because we did it against UNLV. We did it against Boise. And I'd say Boise has better running backs, but the O-line for San Jose State crushed us. They looked all pro. And I thought the sets that they ran were pretty good. They spread us out a little bit, but I mean, all across the board, we did not perform well. Over pursued the ball. I thought Dean has got to come up and make big plays and tackle. We missed that. We got beat on the edge, but we didn't contain. They did everything right. We did everything wrong. And that's what led to a blowout.
Yeah, and if we're looking back to what we predicted in this game and keys to the game, we said if San Jose State is able to run the ball all over Fresno State, it's going to be a long day for the Bulldogs, which was true. And Cordero didn't have to be excellent in order for the Spartans to win this game. And I think that is how they can be really successful in just pounding the ball and just, relying on the two really good running backs that they had. And, Coach Tedford after the game credited the San Jose State offensive line by saying, this is, a really good group, really experienced group. And almost like they kind of weren't ready for it, which is a little concerning. So I don't know if that's just, not having 2 weeks to prep for the game and, not being ready for it. I don't know. But the Spartans wanted it. And I do agree with you on the defensive side. It did seem like there were several plays where, the guy that usually makes the tackle was either out of position or had been blocked out of the play and just wasn't able to make, the first contact to slow the runner down. So credit to San Jose State for having, good execution and just really good plays to get their playmakers the ball in space.
Yeah, and their playmakers look good. William Jennings Vibin says, "Hello, darkness, my old friend." Got our ass kicked. That's about it. Outplayed in every aspect, but the tailgate was legendary. Shout out to the Red Wave. Absolute blast until kickoff. I'll see you all at the New Mexico Bowl. Oh, man. No greater salt in the wound than losing to a team with half a stadium and a kicker that pooches every kickoff. Brutal.
That's a good point.
Yeah. And then the Mac Doctor says, "I'm not surprised. Fresno State was the luckiest 8-1 team in the NCAA. They were outplayed by Eastern Washington, Wyoming, UNLV, and now San Jose State. We are lucky to be 8-2. There was a stat on the television. We've been outgained by every single opponent we've played.
Really? I missed that. That is crazy.
Yeah. So we have, and I think a lot of us, we've been excited. Yes, we're winning. That's great. But every week we all talk about, you and me, Caleb, and all of you guys listen. We in the chat, we've all talked about, okay, yeah, but we got to fix this. There's a lot of things to fix here, even though we're winning. And like you guys say, we got exposed. A terrible performance that most people and everyone is saying that. Patch in the Yard says, "I would have rather lost to San Jose State than to Boise State. I would rather win both, but okay." I guess if you have that game at home against Boise, you have to win that game. You have to win that game.
Right. And I mean, if Boise beats Fresno State, does Coach Avila still have a job? Probably. So there's a domino effect there.
Yeah. V. Rodriguez says, "Fife and Keene and the defense could not find rhythm." Gregor says, "We looked flat." R. Harris, that one hurt. And then Kern River Floater says, "Effing BS." I understand San Jose State's good, but this one hurts. All right. What is everybody saying in the chat, Caleb?
Oh, there's a lot on here.
Andy, they're spying and taking our signs.
Yeah. Chris Lake pointed out that Johnny Hudson and Gabriel Lightfoot both getting hurt in the game. That's not helping the Fresno State pass rush. So I know that Hudson's looked pretty bad. He wasn't able to put any pressure on his whichever leg was injured while he was walking off. I'm not sure about Lightfoot though, but at least Johnny Hudson, that did not look good. Let me see here.
Yeah. So Bob says Clark has been a liability this year overall. Oh man. What do you think about that?
Well, I think it's hard when we're comparing him to Evan Williams, who yesterday he had like a really good game for Oregon. I think he had 9 tackles and I think he recovered a fumble too. So it's tough when that's the expectation that we have for that dominant safety position. I think he's been good and serviceable, but yeah, he hasn't been Evan Williams, which is tough to expect that from him. This game we did see Kosi Agina come back. I don't think we've seen him all year. So that was good to see. Cameron Braca didn't suit up and didn't play. And so I think that there's just still a lot of change going on in the secondary. I mean, I don't think Comstock's really doing anything to make a difference. I think he's okay. Just kind of a place filler, in my opinion. But secondary is struggling. And if they aren't able to help clean up and make the tackles that like Evan would make last year, that explains why San Jose State was able to just run like crazy on the Dogs.
Yeah, it was rough. We'll get into it more in a sec. Shout out to some of our sponsors, Givli Winery, local winery on Bile Avenue, just north of Shaw. I'm drinking a lot of wine after this loss. The alcohol world, they're pretty special because you win, you celebrate with alcohol. You lose, you console yourself with alcohol. But Givli Winery, local winery, that's open Saturdays and Sundays, noon to 5, and on weekdays by appointment only. And if you are looking for wine, come on out. They have brick oven pizza there, and their winemakers are Fresno State grads, and they have a good time out there. And on December 10th, put it in the calendar, December 10th, we're playing bucket golf. Beware Bulldogs and Learfield putting on bucket golf at Givli Winery. So shout out to them for supporting that. Also, check out Flora Flower Co. Flora Flower Co. is a flower shop that's modern. It's unique. They have local flowers there, and it's your one-stop shop for gifts. Monday through Saturday, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. on Shepherd and Willow. A florist is there waiting for you. They're going to help you create something special. Use code Fresno15 for 15% off. That's Fresno, the number 15, for 15% off your purchase. Flora Flower Co. on Shepherd and Willow. All right, Caleb, let's get to numbers.
Okay.
And then that will lead to more conversations. Mikey Keene started the game 12 for 20, 110 yards, touchdown, and an interception. And we've talked, we've been pretty tough on Mikey.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I'm going to continue to be tough on Mikey. I have to see more. I have to see a really bad interception.
Mm-hmm.
It threw it into triple coverage on a slant route. He does fine against zone coverage. I'll give him that. But against man, he has not. And there's a couple times he made a few good throws. He went through his progression, but most of the time it's one look. It's probably a read at the line of scrimmage, and he's making a throw, and it wasn't good. And we've seen it every game, at least one. And there's Bob. He says it. So we have to see more from Keene. He gets injured. Fife comes in. And I really like what I see from the offense when Fife is back there running the option. We look at our best when they're doing that. I don't know why we get away from it. I understand you want to throw the ball because we're down. We made no progress throwing the ball all night other than one pass to Magdalena, which was great. He burned him. But other than that, can we please run the ball? Malik Sherrod looked great. Gilliam looked good. The only reason we got down was because we started throwing the ball, and we were running the ball just fine. I think we had almost 80 yards by halftime. What? I mean, yeah, we're down and we had to throw the ball, but we put ourselves in that situation because quarterback's making bad reads. I put most of it on McCann. Why are we calling those plays? Run the ball. It was not good. And I mean, there needs to be execution from the quarterbacks, and they didn't play that great. But I mean, gosh, can we please run the ball? Anyways, what are your thoughts on quarterback play?
Yeah, there was definitely a regression in terms of accuracy and decision making this game, especially for Logan. I think that his some of his early passes were just all over the place. His interception, I think, is less bad if we're comparing the two. He at least gave the receiver, I think it was Freeman, the opportunity to make the play. And, in a one-on-one situation, the corner made a really good play and picked it off. Mikey's was, thrown right to the defender. So at least Logan was giving him a shot. But, man,
They were all underthrown.
Yeah, they were.
Even Logan's interception was underthrown.
Yeah, I will kind of defend Logan a little bit. He was getting hit when he was letting go of the ball, and I think that was impacting the velocity a little bit. So a little bit there, fault of the offensive line, but I don't think we've mentioned it yet that Jacob Spomer down with an injury in this game, and Tedford saying he's likely out for the year, which it's not great considering I think he's probably one of the best players on that offensive line, and anytime your left tackle goes down, that's going to be brutal. I think that Penwright coming in, I mean, he fought his hardest, but it's definitely a drop off in terms of ability compared to Spomer. So all that going into it, yeah, I agree with what you're saying about Logan running the ball. That do you feel like we're trying to force Logan to be a quarterback that he's not? Because it seems like his strength is when he's running the ball, and if he has enough time to throw it, he can probably find the open guy in like his own coverage. But if he's just expected to drop back and throw it 20 times, I don't know if that's really his strength.
I 100% agree. I think as a coach, you play to your team's strengths, and we're not doing that when Logan's in. This team has to change when Logan comes in. We have to, because we're a better team when Logan's running the ball. We're putting their defense in scenarios where we're forcing them to make decisions. And if they make the wrong decision, Logan breaks one open, Malik goes for a couple yards, and then we can run a couple play action plays. And I think we're not playing to our strengths when Logan's in the game. By the way, his numbers, 11 for 21, 115 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Both of their QBRs were under 30, poor, very bad. So yeah, I agree. I'm glad you brought up the O-line because they did pressure us a lot. They've got a lot of pressure on just bringing 3 and 4 guys. They got pressure. So
I mean, I do think, Mikey injury is concerning, and it comes on a rare occasion where he's actually trying to run for a first down. So I do feel a little bit guilty on that because I know that you and I have been encouraging him to run the ball and try to use his legs, and then he does it, and then he gets knocked out of the game. It's crazy.
He needs to understand what to do when running the ball, right? I know that once again, high expectations. Division I quarterback, though, of a program that wins. Don't dive head first. Just slide. Logan did it poorly. He slid. He did it, but he came up short of the first down. I remember twice. You have to be aware of your surroundings, what's going on. Both these guys are young, and they're going to get better, but we can't have that from a starting quarterback. You have to know what to do in the scenario that you're presented with. It wasn't happening, and you got to protect yourself too. If both of those guys are tough and they're fighting through injuries and things like that, but be smart about it. We can't be bouncing our heads off the ground at 15 miles an hour. All this with a 200-pounder running full steam at you. We're definitely going to need quarterbacks to step up. Running the ball. We talked about we want to see our guys run the ball more, especially in this game. Malik Sherrod had 15 carries for 68 yards. Mikey Keene had 2 carries for 11 yards. Elijah Gilliam had 3 carries for 11 yards. Jalen Gill had 1 carry for 6 yards, and Logan Fife was credited with 9 carries for negative 12 yards. Sacks.
Yeah.
Malik Sherrod looked good. When we got him the ball, I thought he looked good. He broke tackles. The only time he struggled was when we checked the ball down to him and there were guys coming full steam at him and he turned around and he got popped a couple times. I mean, Elijah Gilliam had some good runs. There's no reason we should not be running the ball. Malik Sherrod was averaged 4.5 yards a carry. Elijah Gilliam averaged over 3 yards a carry, over 3.5 yards a carry. That's a first down if you just run the ball every time. What we get into 2nd and 7s, I saw quite a bit. A long 2nd down, and we throw the ball incomplete. Now we're in a 3rd and 7, or we get a holding call, or we try to throw a screen pass to Mac and get tackled 3 yards behind, and now it's 3rd and 10, 3rd and long. We can't be doing those things. We just ran the ball for most of the drive, got all the way down, and then we do that. Someone help me out here. It's frustrating for me.
Yeah, I don't have much to add on that. I do think Malik was doing what he could, and it was successful enough. I mean, this was a type of performance where if it was able to continue for most of the game, that's what has led Fresno State to 8 victories so far in this season. So, yeah, it's frustrating when the rest of the game, doesn't play out, so that way Fresno State can actually run the ball. I mean, it's like we're a service academy offense, and when we get down by 3 scores, we just abandon our ability to run and then start forcing things and turn the ball over. So, yeah, ugly and frustrating.
Yeah, 100%. Receiving, Mac Delana, 6 receptions, 69 yards, and a touchdown. Eric Brooks, 3 receptions for 59. Jalen Moss had 4 for 33, and that garbage time touchdown at the end. Tim Greer had 2 receptions for 30. Jalen Gill, 3 for 29. Trey Watson had 1 reception for 4 yards. Malik Sherrod had 4 receptions for 1 yard. By the way, total rushing yards, going back really quick, we totaled 83 rushing yards. I think we had about that in the first half. I thought the receiving core did fine. Mac had a big game. We targeted Freeman multiple times. Both interceptions were targeting Freeman. Trey Watson's open. I'm going to say it every episode. He's open. We got to hit him. We got to throw him the ball. That's another thing that's very frustrating for me. But I thought Mac brought the most energy, him and Malik, to this team.
Mm-hmm.
They're trying to get guys fired up. They're out there making plays. I get scared, though, when Mac gets wrapped up because he doesn't go down. And I don't want to get crushed. So, but I know Mac's tough, but I don't like seeing the guys stand up and get crushed. But they're bringing the energy there. And I don't know, dude. I think they're doing well. The quarterback's just got to get them the ball, got to throw them open. We can't stare at our wide receivers. What do you guys think? What do you think, Caleb?
Well, one of my complaints has been regarding receiving is Fresno State's inability to run an effective wide receiver screenplay. I think the first 2 we attempted this game was one to Mac for 0 yards, and then there was one that was thrown short to Brooks, and I think they ruled that he dropped it, which was good because it would have been a loss of 3 yards. And then finally we were able to get one to Gill, and he broke a couple tackles and had a nice gain. So it was good that we finally executed a wide receiver screen, because it just seems like a basic one that in a college football offense you can just kind of go to when you need 5 yards at a minimum. So that's just, if we're going to rely on the short passing game, we need to be able to execute, the short wide receiver screen throws. So maybe we're getting better on it. But yeah, overall, echo you, target Trey Watson. He's a beast. Get the man the ball. Other than that, I mean, just getting the ball to the guys that are open. I mean, it's simple, and obviously that's not a super in-depth football analysis. But when our quarterbacks are throwing so many ill-advised throws, just get it to the open guy.
Yeah. By the way, I forgot about, we had a call in, and so I'm going to play it from Bud. And so he's got some things to say, and we can talk about that. What you said remind me of it.
Well, we were at the game, and I was thinking that's a great example. They could record it and use it in the future as a what not to do let down game. It was a real bummer. Especially because that stadium and the crowd is so weak, like so quiet, even when it was early and so close. It's just the fans aren't even into it. There's not that many people. Really disappointing. But I was wondering what you guys thought of Fife, because in person, some of those passes just sort of launches it up there. It's like a rainbow, ready for the defender to pick it off. And was it like that in earlier games? Just a bad game for Fife, and the defense. What do you think was going on with the defense and the running? Oh, it was so bad. It seemed like every run was 10 yards or more. And is that on the coordinator or the players? What do you think? Thanks so much. Great show.
Thanks, bud. Appreciate it. You guys can call in too. We have Google Voice. I'll put the numbers out for you guys. I don't have it in front of me. I'll make sure it gets out to you guys though. And on, I believe on Anchor. I think Bud does it on Anchor. He left the voice message. Okay. Fife and his throwing ability. I think him and Mikey both struggle with the same thing, and that's just throwing rainbows. There was one play I remember that San Jose State ran. Chevon Cordero stepped back to throw, got pressured a little bit, but stepped up and just drilled the ball to a guy running an out route. It was down low where only his guy could get it, and it was a fastball. Oh my gosh. That's something special that we haven't got to see at Fresno State. Our guys, yes, don't have a whole lot of time to throw stepping into it. They're throwing off their back foot a lot of time and getting pressured. But even then, I don't see our guys stepping up into the pocket and driving the ball downfield and leading our wide receivers. Our wide receivers are forced to make really tough catches, and luckily they're pretty good, and they do that. But yeah, I think it's just I'm notched up to a bad game on both quarterbacks. But yeah, we really got to get those Fresno State biceps. I mean, Derek Carr's got them. Hayner had them. Let's get those biceps on these boys and throw some fastballs because we need that.
Yeah, I mean, talking about his question about defense, what do you think was different this game? Is it the injuries on the defensive line? Was it just scheme? San Jose State just had a better game plan and they executed, or something else? I mean, what's the answer there for why the defense is so poor?
I think it's a lot of things. I thought, well, scheme is one thing. The other thing is defense. Just like in a lot of sports, defense is mostly effort. And if you all go back and watch the film on it, I think we just lacked the effort. Yes, San Jose State did a lot of good things. They schemed up a lot of good things, but our linebackers were not hitting the plugging holes quickly. We're not using effort to get off blocks, and our skill set to get out to shed blocks. We overcommitted on a lot of things. I think, I don't know why. My guess would be because we're trying to force guys back in. I saw a couple times we're trying to spy Cordero, but it hurt us in the end. But for the most part, I'm gonna say is effort. I really liked what San Jose State did on a lot of these plays. They would pull a guard and a tackle, and so their flow of the plays going one way, and a lot of times Cordero would give, and he wouldn't get touched for, and Bud's right, 10 yards, 12 yards. The flow of the plays running that way, there's got to be one or two guys flowing with the play doing that. At the same time, they do that 2 or 3 times, and then Cordero keeps and runs for 15 yards. They also did that. So there's scheme, but I think you have to get pressure in the trenches to blow those plays up. Really force them to make decisions. It happened once when we blitzed Dean off the edge and Cordero fumbled. He muffed the exchange.
Yep.
And there you go. You cause pressure. That's what happens. Buddy Rivera, the difference in arm strength between Cordero and Keene, Fife jumped off the screen. That was a big advantage for us. 100%. I think when defensively, it starts in the trenches, and we have to cause pressure on the quarterback when throwing the ball and when running the ball. And, we've done a good job in the past of outside containing, forcing guys back in between the tackles, and our linebackers are right there to stuff it. It didn't happen this time. So, and I saw a couple times, Devo gets caught inside and they just, and then their tackles pulling or their guards pulling, and, and it's the other side guard and tackle, by the way. It was the tackles getting out in front from the other side, which is wild, but good for San Jose. I thought they executed well and, once again, made us look slow, and it looked like, I'll go back to effort. We got to hit those holes, fly in there. I also see Buddy says, do you think Mandel wins the starting QB spot next year? I'm going to say no. But from what we hear, man, it's I bet you there's going to be a lot of talk about this in the offseason because we've heard good things. So I don't know, though. I have no idea. I would say no.
I think there could be an opportunity this week if Mikey has a concussion and if he's unable to go. Mandel's quarterback too, and against a very poor New Mexico team where hopefully the Dogs are up, 35-7 in the fourth quarter. I think that would be a time where we could see Jaden Mandel. He hasn't played at all this year, so he can come in for 4 this year and still maintain that red shirt. So I would like to see Fresno State get a comfortable lead this game, and let's see what the true freshman can do. Get him some experience on the field.
I agree with that. I have no doubt Mandel gets playing time this next game. If things go the way they did against San Jose State, you got to try something different. But I would try first running with Fife, or at least being a threat on the ground, because we are on the ground. Malik has done so well. Okay. We talked about defense. I'll throw some names out there. Kosi Agine led the team in tackles with 10. Carlton was right behind him with 6, and then Dean Clark and Steven Comstock. And the reason I mentioned that is because our 4 leading tacklers are 3 safeties and a DB or a corner. That is not what you want to be reading when you're looking at a box score. After that, Malachi Langley and Phoenix Jackson were there. I thought Phoenix Jackson played fine. Mm-hmm. I thought he was around the ball when he was in there for a couple series. And I like the energy that he brought.
I agree. Yeah. I think Jackson was probably one of the bright spots, especially looking forward to the future. I believe he's a freshman, right? Or redshirt freshman. So looking forward, Fresno State needs the next guy up after Lavelle Bailey runs out of eligibility, which will be next year. So I think Phoenix Jackson is promising for the future of this Fresno State defense. And I'd like to see him on the field more. He's a good player. He's electric. He's quick and instinctive. So that was a bright spot, and good to have Kosi Agine back. We've been talking about how much the safety position is just a big question mark. So if he's able to really fill that gap, I think that's the huge benefit to this Fresno State offense. That defense, excuse me.
Right. Kicking, Dylan Lynch, 1 for 1. Hit a 31-yarder and 1 for 1 on extra points. And Carson King had 6 punts. I thought Carson was fine.
Yeah.
It was good. You just don't like punting the ball 6 times. That's for sure. Numbers for San Jose State, they ran the ball for 313 yards on us. Cordero threw for 146 yards. Nick Nash had 4 receptions for 66 yards and a touchdown. They were good. Got to give it to them. Mm-hmm. They made us look very poor. We're going to get to play of the game and player of the game real quick, Caleb, but you got some of our sponsors for us.
I do. Yeah. First, we want to thank Eastie's Wood Shop. Everyone needs to check out Eastie's Wood Shop for custom woodworking and home decor needs. We are in the holiday season here, folks. My wife decorated our house for Christmas this weekend while I was gone, so came home, the Christmas trees were up, which is great. I don't have a problem with it. But the holiday season is here, so you need to check out what's the website here? I lost it. You need to check out. Thank you. ShopEW.store. to check out what they have available, the products, what they can customize and personalize. You can also send them a message and they can help you out there. You can use the code BEWARE for 15% off your first purchase. And again, that's shopew.store. So thank you, Eastie's Wood Shop, for their support. And we also want to thank ManageX, who's a full-service property management company here in the Fresno Clovis area. They service single-family homes, small multifamily, office, and industrial properties. So if you're in need of property management services, you can check them out on their website, managex.net. And they're big supporters of Fresno State and Beware Bulldogs. So we thank both of those awesome sponsors.
Yeah, thank you, everybody. All right, Caleb, we're going to get to our play of the game and player of the game. But first, I think you need to repent and you and your wife need to repent for putting up Christmas decorations before Thanksgiving. What is this?
I stay out of that department. Home decor that's all my wife. So if she likes it, no problem. I have nothing else to say on that.
Oh man. Hey, over here we celebrate the harvest and give thanks. I don't know what Caleb does, but in the Nail family, that's what we do. So
make sure you thank a farmer.
All right. This is tough, man. I think what took the wind out of the sails for Fresno State was that pick six at the start of the third quarter. So if I was going to pick a play of the game in total, it would be that play to San Jose. But what play? Let's turn it positive. Okay, what play gave you some hope for the future on the Fresno State side of the ball? What defensively, offensively? If we could find a play of the game for Fresno State, what would that be?
Well, I think a play that could have really changed the trajectory of the game was, I think it was late in the first half. There was a play Phoenix Jackson made in the backfield. It looked like a fumble, and it would have put Fresno State in scoring position immediately. I think it was ended up calling that the runner was down. So that really could have flipped how the game was going at that point. But that was one of the plays from Phoenix Jackson where I was impressed. Like, okay, this kid I think is going to be able to contribute on this defense. So that was one of them, at least on the offensive side of the ball. I mean, Magdalena made several really good catches, and he's just proving just to be a senior leader on this team. So those are the takeaways. It seems like he's been Mr. Dependable lately, and it's kind of been rotating too with who is featured as number one wide receiver for this team. But overall, that was a bright spot seeing Mac and seeing him get a touchdown, because he's put in a lot of work in his Bulldog career, and it's paying off this season, and he's really contributing.
I agree. I would have to take that Mac touchdown. Bulldogs Bob says the first interception from Keene was that play of the game, in his opinion. Yeah, I think there's a lot of plays that you just kind of sit there watching the game. Oh my goodness. San Jose State, and they took advantage of them. So I would argue, did not. There's not much more for me there in the play of the game. And then the player of the game, I'm going to have to give it to Mac.
Yeah.
Other than, if we're going to give it to a Fresno State player, I got to give it to Mac. But I mean, Kyrie Robinson, 19 carries, 200 yards, 2 touchdowns for San Jose State. Holy smokes. That dude was legit. And Conley, the kid from Central High School, also had 15 carries for 93 yards. He looked good too. So the running game from San Jose State, definitely probably player of the game. But for Fresno State, I'm giving it to Mac.
Ditto. Yeah, nothing else to
add. Real quick, we got to thank the Vine Church in Fresno on Shaw, just west of Grantland, for supporting the show. If you guys are looking for a support group outside of this when it gets tough, or strengthening your community, check out the Vine Church Sundays, 10 a.m. If you need prayer, let me know. I got my list going, and I can let the people know at the Vine. We're happy to pray for you. If you'd like to come check out the Vine Church on Shaw, just west of Grantland, I attend there. Please let me know. I'm happy to meet you there. And if you're going to learn about the Bible, biblical truth, and Jesus, Vine Church is a great place to start. Vine Church Sundays, 10 a.m. Big thank you to them. All right. Last but not least, Caleb, how do we move past this? Because it's hard as a fan base to look into the future. I think we have two subpar opponents coming up that we can rebound off of. But there's not a whole lot of positive coming from this game. So where do we go from here?
I think this needs to just be a flush it and forget it game. Like we mentioned earlier in the episode, there's still a lot for this team to play for. Another 10-win season still on the table. A decent bowl game is still on the table, and that hinges on Fresno State winning these next two games, which is definitely doable with Wyoming coming next week for Senior Day, and a huge game where Aaron Judge is going to be honored at halftime. So definitely, hopefully the baseball fans make it out for that game. But yeah, I mean, how is the offense going to respond? Who is stepping up as a leader of the offense? Who's going to be quarterback? Those are kind of the important questions right now. And the season keeps moving on, and there's just more murkiness related to the quarterback position, which at this point of the year is not a good thing.
No. How do you think this game affects the attendance on Saturday?
Oh, it probably doesn't help. I think there was a chance that this game was going to be flexed to a 2:00 start, which did not happen. So it was announced today going to be 7:30 kickoff. So I don't think that's going to help. Hopefully the baseball people show up and kind of help and want to see Aaron Judge, and Coach Bates will get honored at halftime. But I don't know if we're going to get to the same level that we had for the Boise State game. I don't expect it to be as loud as Boise State game. So I'm expecting a little bit of a letdown, but I feel like it's kind of hard to be optimistic right now just based off of this last performance. But we do need to appreciate it. We only get 6 home games a year. So this is the final one. Get to the final tailgate and have a good time and cheer on the Dogs, because like I said, we only get 6 this year.
Yeah, I'll add Bulldogs Bob. He's adding Phoenix Jackson, defensive player of the game. Mm-hmm. I can get behind that. Yeah, I think that after a 42-18 defeat, I realized I didn't say the final score. Sorry, 42-18 defeat. Yikes! It's going to be tough to get Red Wave fans out, the Red Wave out there, especially for a 7:30 kick. And we all know we've talked about that. So. It's unfortunate. I hope everybody makes it out there. We will be there. I mean, it's Fresno State football. I'm always excited for Fresno State football. We have a lot to improve. After this game, you almost could add it's only up from here. So
that's right. Time to start a new winning streak.
Yeah. Right. All right. That's it for me. Anything else for you, Caleb? Any last words about this game?
I think we just about covered it. Hopefully going forward, both you and I don't have obligations on a game day, because that seems to be a pretty poor combination for this team, for being superstitious about it. So at least for the rest of the year, I should be fully locked in on Fresno State football. So should be, like you said, up from here going forward.
Bob asked, what are we doing for basketball this week? So we will talk about the Fresno State loss against Kent State coming up. Well, that was Saturday as well. So I'm going to call Cole, and we're going to talk about that. And then this week, I know they're kind of all over the place in their Cancun deal. So we will report on the Cancun. Is it Cancun Challenge? I'm not sure exactly.
Yeah, Cancun Challenge this Wednesday. I guess Save Mart Center is becoming a part of Mexico for the evening, because Fresno State is hosting, Morgan State. Never heard of them, but they are coming to town. So looking for Fresno State to get are they a D1 team to get their first D1 victory of the year? Okay.
And yes, Bob, we will be doing live for basketball once football ends. Once football ends, we will do lives once a week, and we'll be talking basketball. And so we just want to hyper focus on one thing for now, and we're just going to stick to recaps for basketball season. And then once Mountain West Conference play hits, we will have lives for basketball season. So it hopefully should be fun. And hopefully we're not covering a bunch of blowouts like this one tonight. This one was tough. I'm going to go enjoy a glass of wine and watch other football highlights because I missed all the other football games, and there were a lot of good ones. Air Force lost to Hawaii. I got to go check that one out.
Right.
I crazy. What else happened around the Mountain West? We had, as I pull up the scoreboard right now, Wyoming lost to UNLV. That's right, 34-14. Utah State beat Nevada pretty bad. Not surprising. Colorado State beat San Diego State by 3. Boise crushed New Mexico 42-14, and then they got rid of their head coach. And then you had our game. Who do you think replaces Avalos? Do you have any idea?
Man, I don't know. I mean, I don't really care. I think we might have mentioned this before, but Brian Harsin, their former coach, is available. I think he's just hanging out in Idaho. I think he's coaching his son's high school team, but he would seem like a logical choice if he wants to get back in. I'm sure that there's going to be good interest on this job. It's a decent and unique opportunity where there's, they are an established brand, but it's a brand that's kind of falling or slipping a little bit. So it is going to take someone that's going to have some energy to, get butts and seats at the I think it's Albertson Stadium up there in Boise. So yeah, I'm sure they'll hire someone. I mean, if they're smart, they kind of go offense this time, because I don't think having a defensive-minded Avalos was the formula.
How about Missouri's offensive coordinator? They're on fire right now.
Oh man, that is true. Yeah, they should go get Kirby.
Yeah, that was my thought. We'll see. You're right. I'm with you. I don't care. We got to go beat them every year. But I do think it's an interesting conversation, and the fact that they fire their coach after a 42-14 win is pretty funny as well. All right. Well, thank you guys for tuning into this one. I know it wasn't the best time, but I think it's good for us to get everything out after a loss. Now we can move on and worry about New Mexico. Thank you guys for all your support. If I didn't get to you on Twitter or Instagram, I'll do my best to get to all of them next week. Don't quit commenting just because I missed you. I enjoy reading all of them. I actually get a good laugh out of most of them. So God bless you guys. Stay safe, stay healthy. And as always, go Dogs.
Go Dogs.